profound changes happen. This literally changed my whole life to this day. Hi, my name is Joseph Alai. Welcome back to my channel on systematic manifesting. And today I want to teach you an amazing technique, one that is overpowered and one that I am thrilled to introduce to you. And this is on belief blueprinting. The technique is one that will absolutely elevate your manifesting game to the next level, especially for those who cannot visualize or those who have trouble visualizing. This is the technique for you. So if you hear so much about visualization, if you're trying to impress your subconscious mind, if you're looking for a way to circumvent the need to, relax for 20 minutes and visualize for an hour, this is for you. Also, I am offering with this video a free coaching session via email. Yes, like a similar previous video that I offered, it is the same offer. You can claim it again if you'd like. All you have to do is go into the description or the comment and click the link and type in your information in the form and you will get that session. So 100%, whatever the problem is, whatever the issue is, if you want affirmations made, if you want a question answered, or if you need an imaginal scene, there's no catch. This is for you. Also, I have disabled ads again because of the extreme importance of this video. I have found that in doing so, people are far more likely to stay tuned, and that to keep concentration, I create these videos specifically tailored to captivate the audience, to allow them to fully understand and have the technique implementable by the time you finish this video. I got an email recently, right after I released my last video on the bullet list, which was extremely effective. And the client or the subscriber of mine was telling me how she used the bullet list method, which essentially is writing down a list. It's very similar to the belief blueprinting method that I'm going to give you today, which is to change your beliefs easily and effortlessly. But she did this, watch the previous video, but she did this and she manifested her 100% disability that she was waiting for months and months, effectively within days. Super easy, super effective, no visualization required. You can use this for anything. This technique itself, whether you want to change your attachment style with relationships, whether you want to change your beliefs regarding finances and success, relationships, health, whatever it is, manifesting, this technique is a shortcut directly built to impress the subconscious mind. So here's the thing. The reason this is so effective and interesting is because for over a century, the realm of psychoanalytics, particularly through Freud's lens, it has painted an idea that changing beliefs is a long and arduous journey, but history tells a completely different stories. Check this out. Napoleon Bonaparte, for example, he masterfully commanded his subconscious mind to align with his grand visions. He scripted his desires from the perspective of already having them fulfilled, which is very similar to what I'm going to give you today. This was his secret. This was his weapon to achieving monumental, epic success in history. So I was invited to Montreal years ago to speak on the radio about manifesting. The friend I was staying with was a huge Napoleon Bonaparte fan. She showed me one of her prized possessions, and it was actually his authentic journal, handwritten. It was amazing to behold. It was handwritten in French, so she translated it for me, and it was his desires. It was literally his journal from before he went on his campaigns, and what I saw was incredible. His desires and dreams about conquering and winning were all written in first-person perspective, as if they had already happened. That's right, exactly what I teach, exactly what we know manifests. He wrote about how he had already won and already conquered. He cited the exact locations that he would be victorious on, and in history, he achieved those things. He has long been known to modify his subconscious and his reality through his practices. And these practices are what I teach. This is what I've been researching. So over the last 12 years, I've dedicated myself to essentially conducting a rigorous set of manifestation experiments. I've lived my life like a big experiment. I've meticulously tracked results and collaborated with countless individuals on understanding, dissecting how manifestation works. The findings are really clear. Assumptions and beliefs are the cornerstone of reality. They make up about 99% of what we experience. It's not just imaginal acts or thoughts like we would have probably thought. The patterns that effectively make up our reality are coming from the subconscious mind, right? And contrary to some popular teachings that suggest it's every single fleeting thought that ends up manifesting each and every aspect of a reality, this is actually not the truth. Data proves otherwise. It is the judgments, assumptions, beliefs, and expectations that become blueprints within the subconscious mind that actually create our reality. So how do these assumptions form, and how do they influence our lives? When people experience events, especially emotional ones, we make judgments, statements, and expectations and conclusions based on our perceptions. For instance, if someone you deeply care about ends a relationship, you might internally claim, people always leave me when I fall in love with them, or people abandon me when I get close. These judgments and assumptions take hold in the subconscious and, like a virus, infiltrate your reality. They continue to manifest similar experiences until they are stopped or replaced. This is because everything and everyone is you pushed out. This is one of the cornerstone teachings to conscious manifesting. But this is where belief blueprinting comes in. This method takes specific aspects of your life and modifies the underlying assumptions. To identify the assumptions that are causing the problems in your reality, you only need to look at your experiences. Since all your subconscious mind is pushed out, all of the experiences that you're interacting with are coming from your subconscious. They're coming from the patterns, the blueprints, the judgments. When you convert those experiences to general terms, that is how you extract the underlying assumptions. And for example, if you have an experience that says that your ex cheated on you, then you would convert that into a general statement, such as people cheat on me, or people that I'm in love with cheat on me. And if you do that, that is how you can surmise. That's how you can extract the actual assumption that's creating. So that is the first aspect, which is essentially crafting your own character and trait list. That's one way to use the belief blueprints. So in order to do that, you have to create the concept list. You have to identify negative assumptions, which is reflecting on your experiences to uncover the negative assumptions that might be manifesting those things. In other words, each experience itself is caused by either an imaginal act or a belief or assumption. So we can reverse engineer reality, and by doing that, we can find the belief that caused that experience. So if you haven't imagined it, then you would have a belief or assumption that would be creating that thing. So some of the assumptions that might, for example, be affecting your life could be something like, people always disappoint me. I'm not worthy of love and respect. Success is hard to achieve. Each of those things would therefore manifest into their likenesses. So you want to create new positive beliefs. You effectively replace those negative assumptions with empowering beliefs or assumptions that you wish to be true. For an example, I attract reliable and supportive people in my life. I'm deserving of love and respect. Success comes to me easily, effortlessly, and naturally. What you want to do is title a list. Again, this is similar to the bullet list, but you title a list with the name of the aspect of the life that you're changing. And after you have brainstormed those aspects of your reality and converted those into generalizations, you want to list down the aspects of that aspect of your life. List down the assumptions of that aspect of your life. That in and of itself is going to impress your subconscious mind. So In order to impress your subconscious mind, writing it down in and of itself should do the job. But there are more things you can do to ensure that you will impress your subconscious mind. So, for example, the key here of impressing the subconscious mind with the correct thing is, again, the point is to derive the generalization, then find an opposing statement, and then write that down. But you could also read it again and again, or you could also imagine a conversation. This in and of itself, by creating a characteristic list, all of the aspects for a certain characteristic that you wish to be true, you can therefore impress those within your subconscious mind and thereby manifest them in your world. The events that will happen when you impress your subconscious with a new sequence of beliefs and assumptions will be the manifestation of different experiences that would be derived from that assumption. The second way to perform this is through adopting a second self, which effectively is inspired by role models or people that you really look up to. I've used this a lot with business. I've used this actually in a lot of aspects of my life, which effectively comes from me not really knowing what it would be like. If you don't really know what it would be like, devising your second self, creating a concept list that mirrors your role model's attributes, will, if you write that down and if you read it, will manifest. So for example, if you know someone who's secure and you want to emulate that secure attachment style, you can write down my attachment style and write down things underneath it like I trust others, I'm comfortable with intimacy, or I communicate my needs openly and honestly. Reinforcement can also be really effective here. Like I said, reading it over and over, imagining conversations with a close or trusted friend, which is something that I did in order to completely change my life with regards to so many different things. That is a really powerful second aspect to this that can really help you change yourself. So by engaging in belief blueprinting, you align your subconscious with your conscious desires. This creates a seamless bridge between your current reality and the life you've always envisioned. This method ensures that your assumptions, your beliefs, your blueprints are in perfect harmony with your goals. In this, you facilitate effortless manifestation. I want to share with you my personal journey to illustrate how belief blueprinting can transform your life. So, many of you know I had struggled previously with emotional issues, with attachment issues, with relationships. And I want to talk to you about how I permanently overcame my attachment issues using this, finding security. A few years ago, I deeply struggled with anxious and insecure attachment. My relationships were fraught with fear and abandonment. I constantly sought validation. My internal dialogue was filled with thoughts like, what if they leave me? I need constant reassurance. I'm not good enough to keep them interested. They're about to go. These assumptions were shaping my reality, and they were leading to repeated patterns of anxiety and insecurity. This is just what my life was, and it was horrible. In fact, when I got into a relationship, everyone would say, look out, Joe's in a relationship again. Because they knew what was going to come. I would get anxious, I would get insecure, I would break down, I would destroy the relationship, and on and on and on. That was my life for over 15 years, just about, give or take. That was horrible. That was the worst periods of my life. That was actually the cornerstone of where most of my problems in life came from. And so once I learned about manifesting, I knew that I had to stop it. In fact, you could argue one of the reasons I got into manifesting was simply to figure out how to stop this. So in order to do that, I needed to stop repeating patterns of anxiety and insecurity. So determined to change, I began to research, and I researched different attachment styles. I realized that the avoidant attachment style was the opposite of what I was experiencing, and therefore I thought that's probably the best idea. So I thought adopting those traits would bring me balance. I think anyone might think that. So I created a belief blueprint, and it was titled My Attachment Style. What I did was I essentially listed down a variety of different things. So the idea was embody avoidant perspective. So things like I'm independent and self-sufficient. I don't need constant validation. I feel comfortable being on my own. I don't care what anyone else does. I don't get affected by what people say. After writing them down and reading them nightly for 3 days, I had profound changes. My behavior shifted, my thoughts shifted, many things shifted entirely, and I didn't particularly like it. But I did begin to exhibit avoidant behaviors, distancing myself from others emotionally. My relationship dynamic, I was in a relationship at the time, that's why I got into this, was shifting. It affected everything. Soon I realized, though, this wasn't what I wanted. I didn't want to be detached. I wanted to be secure. I didn't know what it was like. I didn't know what it was like to be detached or secure. So I revisited my approach and chose to focus on my secure attachment style that I wanted. So I consulted my friend Dan, who naturally embodies a secure attachment, which blew my mind. I had never heard of anything like that initially, but he would share his perspectives. And essentially what he told me, I incorporated into the belief blueprint. So what I titled it was my secure attachment style. And what I did was I list various aspects from him and from the literature that I read. Like, I'm comfortable with intimacy and independence. I trust my partner and feel safe in relationships. I communicate my needs openly and honestly. I handle conflicts with calm and understanding. What I did was I read this again for 3 nights, and I imagined a conversation between me and Dan with some of the most important aspects of this. Profound changes happened. This literally changed my whole life to this day. First was an inner transformation, which was my anxious thoughts just began to subside immediately. I felt a newfound confidence and ease. It literally just happened automatically. My relationship improved. My partner and I grew closer. Communication improved, and misunderstandings decreased. So did anxiety altogether. Friends and family were the most shocked, though, because they had never seen me act like this before. They noticed my transformation immediately. They were often commenting on how relaxed and happy I seemed. Some of my friends were dumbfounded entirely. They were still worried and suspicious, but it never changed back. My life has completely transformed. And for the first time in many, many years, I feel normal, I feel secure, I feel genuinely happy. My entire life has grown amazingly better. And here's the thing, that set me up for where I am today. Today, my relationship with Athena, there is no anxiety, there is no insecurity. That's a distant nightmare of the past. But even that, it's barely a nightmare. I barely remember it. The profound changes, you can almost not describe it. And it's not always instantaneous. Like, I've used this method for so many different things, and I'll tell you another one. But usually what happens is either internally you will shift automatically, or experiences will shift on the outside, right? You won't even change on the inside yet, but something's going to happen on the outside to subtly shift your mind internally. That subtle shift will manifest something else. That something else will manifest more of a subtle shift, and on and on and on until you are a secure person or whatever it is you're attempting to manifest. This works exceedingly well on belief systems, on things that cause patterns. This could be money, it really could be anything at all. But in this case, belief systems, that's really the key here. So I want to tell you about a second story, something that's extremely important, something I haven't shared a whole lot about, but I believe, and I've been getting a lot of feedback from certain people saying that this could really change a lot of people's lives. So I'm going to just jump into it. And I think it's really important for me to get closer with you guys to let you know where I came from and why I even started manifesting in the first place. So this is my story on breaking free from addiction. So the thing is modern society writes addicts off, tells them that struggling with substance abuse is essentially indefinitely. Most people never recover. It's long and arduous. If anything, there's never any guarantees. You're basically screwed. Most of the time they just throw you in jail and there's no pity. Today, luckily, things have begun to change, noticing as disorders and diseases. But back in the beginning when this happened with me, things were not changed at all. anything that was related to recovery from addiction or alcoholism was very militant and very moralistic. It was all about your moral code, the way that you are morally corrupt. But as we've learned, and if you followed along with my channel, it's all a subconscious disorder. Addiction is the inability to control the action because the subconscious mind is far stronger and superior to your conscious mind. No surprise. And so my experience though, and using these belief blueprints tells a completely different story. So years ago when I did battle my addiction, I was essentially trapped by judgments, expectations, assumptions, essentially that I was powerless to change. Those were the most severe. Conventional wisdom, as I said, it suggested that I was screwed. It was a life sentence and I would not live very long, and the proof was in my experience. I was on the verge of not living long. However, through this blueprinting process, I did discover the path to freedom, and so this is the way that it unfolded. I first identified limiting beliefs, such as I have no control over my actions to do drugs, I need substances to cope with life. And then I created the empowering beliefs, like I have complete control over my actions. I have no cravings for anything. I feel about drugs and alcohol the same way as the average person does, repelled by them, generally speaking. Writing these new statements in the first person perspective, I reprogrammed my subconscious mind, which essentially overwrote the old pattern and embraced the new ones, which, as I said before, penetrates the subconscious like a virus and then infiltrates my reality. The transformation followed these bridge of incidents. So first of all, people around me noticed I was more in control and less anxious. I seemed to have a confidence about me. Experientially shifting, as I began to experience situations without any compulsive behavior, I seemed to have complete control over my life. I was repelled from anything that was seemingly related to or that would bring me in the vicinity of something that wasn't good for me. Again, most of the time prior, what was interesting, and I didn't even consider that when I made my list, was that I always had a very emboldened attitude, and I always was a sort of compulsive risk taker. And this belief blueprinting completely snapped me out of this mindset. What is more profound than these things is the fact of the solidified beliefs that began to enter into my mind. The changes that I began to witness, my experiences, my attitude, my confidence in myself, all of these things reinforced the new beliefs that were beginning to, take hold over my mind. That led to complete sobriety. Today, there's no addictive tendencies, completely unaddicted, completely secure, completely free from any anxiety. It entirely proves that belief blueprinting is so powerful, it can defy all science, defies anything, all logic, all reason. This is how powerful this stuff is. There is no limitations on what you can accomplish with this, whether it's relationships or whatever. An important feature of this is to write stuff down stream of consciousness. When you write it down stream of consciousness, that effectively means you're paying only attention to the things that you're writing, and you're doing it without paying attention to anything else. When that happens, your mind effectively knows, especially once you keep doing this, your mind will know exactly what you're doing, and it will enter into the state automatically that you need. The state that allows you to impress your subconscious, right? You got to understand assumptions. When we experience events, especially emotional ones, we often form immediate assumptions about the world and people. That's just the way we are. We've always done that ever since we were small children, and we do it today. The inner voice in our mind, that's what I'm talking about here. These assumptions get ingrained into our subconscious, and they continue to manifest similar experiences. By identifying and consciously replacing these assumptions, we alter the blueprint of our reality, literally. The only requirement is that we know how to do that. In order to do that, all we have to do is this method. It doesn't take any visualization. It's extremely easy to do, and the results come quickly. So, some of the ways to break down how this works. So there are essentially some ways to determine what the assumptions are that are generating the experiences in our life. And the way to do that, again, is to convert experiences into generalizations. And this is the way that those generalizations are the assumptions, and those assumptions are what manifest over and over and over. The thing is repeating patterns never stop. A singular manifestation will happen once and then fade away, but a pattern, which I'll tell you the difference between a pattern and a singular imaginal act. A pattern is a general statement, right? A pattern is a general statement. As I said, it's when you take an experience. If something's happening over and over, you take what's been happening, like if you've been cheated on 10 times, or if you always gain money and it's lost. So you generalize what's happened. I always lose money that's given to me. Men always cheat on me. That is the extraction of the assumption. That is the assumption, that generalized statement. Once you do that, the next step is to, you need to rework that. You need to remove that. The problem with the assumption is it will always manifest. It's always going to manifest over and over until it is removed, until it is stopped. So replacing assumptions with belief blueprints, like a tongue twister for me for some reason. Once you've identified these assumptions, the best way to reverse them is to conjure up the belief blueprints, right? So encapsulate the assumptions list titled with the desired traits or aspects of life. This contains the opposing assumptions. For example, label 1, my romantic relationships. And underneath it, women are loyal. All girls I date are honest and loyal to me. Women have integrity. I always choose the perfect woman for me to date. I always have the perfect relationship. That listing it down in and of itself will impress your subconscious mind. That replaces the negative assumptions with the new ones. This will rewire the subconscious mind. In summary, it offers a practical and effective way to transform your life by modifying the underlying assumptions that shape your 99% of your reality. By identifying negative assumptions and replacing them with empowered beliefs, you can literally break free from limiting patterns and manifest the life that you've always wanted. So you might wonder why this works. While visualization has long been the recognized cornerstone of manifestation, it often requires constructing detailed script-like scenes, like professional scripts from movies oftentimes, or at least that's how it appears. Its belief blueprints simplifies this process. It circumvents this process. You no longer have to be a master author or an amazing visualizer in order to manifest your reality, if that was the case in the first place. What it literally does is it allows you to encapsulate the desired traits in a conscious list. So a conscious list effectively is a list that contains conscious assumptions, right? In doing this, you list down the assumptions, and that impresses effortlessly. So here's why this really works. So focusing during writing. You only need to concentrate while writing the list, relieving the need for prolonged focus or repeated affirmations. Stream of consciousness, such as brainstorming first and write it in a free-flowing manner. This would keep your subconscious mind engaged and prepared. The subconscious mind begins to become aware when you're going to do it. Now, the reinforcement part, it's not absolutely necessary, but if you want to ensure you've done it right, read your list before bed. Do this for 3 days, and this will further impress these beliefs into your subconscious. Here's the thing, right? People struggle with visualization. I used to struggle with visualization. And so many people harp upon it. Even I, for a very long time, harped upon it. And I still have my love for visualization. But if I'm being honest, more than anything else, I use this method and the bullet list method to manifest the thousands of things that I have manifested. This is designed specifically for people who want to manifest high volumes of things effortlessly, things easily, and exactly. Sometimes it can get more exact than a visualization. Like, how do you imagine a belief? Now, imagining conversations is one way to imagine a belief, but how many beliefs can you encapsulate in one visual scene? You're supposed to stick to one desire per scene. If you don't, you might only impress part of the scene. So this is really the key. This is the solution. This is the alpha and the omega. I use this more than anything else. This process is simple and accessible. As you've heard in the stories, anyone can do this. Anyone who finds visualization challenging, anyone who can think, anyone who can write, anyone who can think they can write, you can do this. I have witnessed transformation thousands of times, even in my own life. As I said, my entire life for many years has been an experiment, a manifestation experiment. In financial situations, romantic endeavors, mental health, personal growth, entrepreneurship, everything, all aspects with my friends, my family, myself. There are so many different ways and means that I have used this to reshape lives. If you want to reshape yours, you just have to use the power of the belief blueprint. And then what happens is you just literally watch your life change. It changes out from under your feet. You will just be moved naturally to conform to the new images that you've written down on that list. Whatever you want, all things are possible, right? If you've come to me, it's because you want something that many others have deemed impossible. God knows there's enough people out there sharing a lot of information to put limits on this, but I can promise you, this is the simplest way. If you don't want to use feeling, if you don't want to use visualization, this is as easy as it gets. Personal growth and success are essentially guaranteed using this. Whatever you want, you can get it. Just start doing this right now. So as I said before, I am offering a free coaching session in email with this video. Just ensure you subscribe, and then in the comments, I should have a little pinned comment, or in my description, and it'll be how to claim that. So you just have to fill out a little form and hit submit. My channel is always on how to manifest systematically. You can manifest predictably. You can, like I said, my life has always been manifesting with predictable methods, right? My whole life has been in demystifying manifestation so that everyone can use it. It's not just boxed in by tradition. If you have a desire, if you're sick of waiting for that desire, if you're unsure of how you can get that desire, if you've done this technique or that method, just subscribe and manifest anything that you want. And until next time, stay focused, create reality. I'll see you then.